Alright, today's lesson is on surface area of rectangular prisms. So a few example of rectangular prisms we're going to be doing. You can use a cube if you want. We have a, we're going to do rectangular prisms, but it will eventually work for our triangular prisms. And then we do have our rectangular prism there as well. Okay. So surface area is measured in square units. Even though we're working with three-dimensional shapes, we're still only looking at the area that's on the surface of an object. So it's still a flat two-dimensional measurement we're taking, but it is on a three-dimensional shape. We're going to be measuring the top side, every single side on each one, and even these sides right here. So we're going to be adding all those up, the areas. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first model here. Our first model here, we notice that across we're going to call our length. Okay. And we also have our width, which is going to be this, how far across it goes. And then we have our height, which is how high up the shape goes. So our length in this case is 5 units across, our width is 1 unit across, and our height is 2 units across. So in order for me to find the surface area of the whole shape, I need to go ahead and break it down. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and break down is the area of the front face. My front of my face I'm going to call right here. That's this spot right here. Okay. Now one way I could do it is I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or I can use a number sentence. And in this case I'm going to do the length times my height. Because it goes up to over. So length times height, we're going to do L times H. We have 5 times 2 is going to equal 10. Okay. My right face, that's this over here. Okay. I'll go ahead and shade that in right there. Alright, we're going to do our width times our height. And that is going to be our width is 1 times our height is 2 equals 2. Area of my top face, that's this area up there, the very top of it. Again, the width is 1, and then I'm going to do my length, so it's going to be length times width here for that one. And the length is 5, the width is 1, so I get a surface area of 5. Then I also have some measurements on the back side. I can't forget the ones back there. So whatever I have on my front is going to be the same thing that's on my back. So in this case I would again do length times height, which is your 5 times 2 is 10. Now I have a left side over here which cannot be seen, but it's going to be the opposite of my right side here. So again that's width times height, and that is your 1 times 2 is 2. And then I have a bottom of my face, so just like the top of my face I actually have a bottom of it, and it would be the same as length times width. 5 times 1 is 5. So the total surface area, when I add all these up, I take my front and my back, 10 plus 10. I take the right side and the left side, plus 2, and then I take the top side and the bottom side, another 5 plus 5. So I do get an answer of 34, and because it is a square unit, it is an area, I do units squared. Alright, let's try example number 2. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure we label these. Alright, again we're going to make this the length. Looks like my length is 3 units long. I'm going to go do this the width. Looks like my width is 2 units long. And then this will be my height. My height will be 2 units long as well. Okay. So the first one I'm going to go ahead and do is my front face. This right here. The front face is my length times my height. And it is 3 times 2. Equals 6. And again that's the same as my back face, so behind it, which I can't see, is also going to be length times height, so I'm going to do 3 times 2 is 6. Then I'm going to go ahead and do my right face, that's right here, so this box right here, and that is my width times my height, so in this case it's 2 times 2 is 4. And whatever I have for my right side is going to be the same for my left side, even though I can't see it, it's still my width times my height. and it is 2 times 2 is 4. And lastly, I have my top side here. I've got 2 across, and then 3 across there for my length, and then 2 for my width. Length times width, so 3 times 2 is equal to 6. And whatever's on my top is also going to be on the bottom. It's also length times width, 3 times 2 equals 6. So the total surface area for my rectangular prism, I got my front and my back side, 6 plus 6. I've got my right face and my left face, 4 plus 4. And I got my top face and my bottom face, and there's 6 plus 6. So if I add all these up, I go ahead and get an answer of 32 units squared. Okay. Now, instead of going through this process for every single time, we're going to go ahead and create a formula for you guys. Okay? And so our formula that we can go ahead and create is, notice how we did length and height. We did it twice. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 length times height. Alright? So we did the front and the back face. We're going to add to that my right face and my left face. We did width and height twice with that. So I'm going to do 2 width times height. And then lastly is my top face and my bottom face. Now I'm going to do that. I did that twice for my length times width. So I'm going to add together 2 times length times width. Notice how I have a combination of length height, width height, length width. I actually take all 3 different measurement types and I pair them together once. That gives me all the different combinations when I solve this. The other way you can also solve this if you wanted to is you could do 2 times length times height plus width times height plus length times width. That's the other option for you to go ahead and solve. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this equation, go ahead and use it to solve the U-try problems. Should look just like this. So you have one problem to do there, and then you actually have 4 different more problems to do down there. So go ahead and use that equation to solve it. The first one actually has you work it all out, so go ahead and try working it out first, and then you can use your formula. Alright, now that you've paused it and tried it, you should have gotten a length, width, and height there of 5, 2, 2. Should have gotten your front and back faces should be 10, your right and left faces should be 4, and your top and your bottom faces should also be 10. When you add all those up, you get an answer of 48 units squared. And if we go to the U-try problems here, where you're actually using the formula, make sure you're writing this formula out each time. If you didn't write it out, please make sure you write it down now. The more you write it again, the easier it is going to be to remember. You should have gotten a length of 4, width of 2, and a height of 3. And you should have gotten an answer of 52 units squared. For number 3, length of 2, width of 2, height of 3, plug it into your equation, and you should get an answer of 32 units squared. Number 4, we no longer see the boxes. In this case, they actually gave us the measurements. So we saw it, and we're going to keep with the same routine here. The length goes across, that's our 7. The width goes back to front, which is your 8, and the height goes up and down, which is your 15. Go ahead and plug into the equation, and you should have gotten 562 centimeters squared. And then this last one, 5, was an actual net. We can see if when we solve the net, we have a 3 by 8, and then we also have a by 14. I went ahead and said the length was 3, the width is 8, the height is 14. You can honestly pick whichever way you want to do it. You're still going to be multiplying each number together once and then multiplying it by 2, so that part doesn't matter. But we go ahead and plug those into the equation, you get 356. Just to check, I actually went ahead and did 3 times 8 is 24 for these two. I did 3 times 14 is 42 for these two. And I did 8 times 14 is 112 for these two. And I added them all up, and I did get 356 meters squared. So that is our lesson on surface area.